the hospital. Last month, I had to visit the hospital due to a health concern that had been troubling me for a while. It was my first time needing serious medical attention, and I wasn't sure what to expect. The hospital was a large, modern facility, and as soon as I entered, I felt a mix of anxiety and relief, knowing I was in a place where professionals could help me. The waiting room was filled with patients of all ages, each with their own concerns, and this reminded me of the importance of healthcare in our lives. After checking in at the reception, I was asked to wait until a nurse could see me. The hospital staff was very efficient and organized, but the wait felt long as I grew more nervous about what the doctors might find. While I waited, I watched people around me. Some were there for routine checkups. Others seemed to be in pain or discomfort. The hospital environment felt busy, but calm at the same time, as everyone knew they were in capable hands. Eventually, a nurse called my name, and I was led to an examination room. The nurse took my vital signs, blood pressure, temperature, and heart rate, before asking me a series of questions about my symptoms. She was kind and professional, which helped ease my nerves. It was reassuring to see how attentive she was, making sure to take note of every detail before the doctor came in. When the doctor arrived, she reviewed my symptoms and asked more in-depth questions about my medical history. She explained that she would need to run a few tests to determine the cause of my issue. The clarity with which she communicated the next steps made me feel more at ease. I appreciated how she took the time to explain everything in simple terms, making sure I understood the process and what to expect. I was then taken to another part of the hospital for tests. The hospital had state-of-the-art equipment, and the technicians were very experienced. They performed various tests, including blood work and an ultrasound, to gather more information. While undergoing these tests, I couldn't help but think about how crucial medical technology is in diagnosing and treating illnesses. It was fascinating, yet humbling, to witness how advanced modern healthcare had become. After the tests, I returned to the waiting area for the results. This was probably the most nerve-wracking part of the entire visit. The wait felt endless, even though it was just a couple of hours. However, I could see that the doctors and nurses were working tirelessly to ensure that everyone was cared for in a timely manner. I also noticed how compassionate the hospital staff was, offering comfort to patients who were anxious or in pain. Finally, the doctor called me back in to discuss the results. Thankfully, the issue was not as serious as I had feared. She prescribed some medication and gave me detailed instructions on how to manage my symptoms and recover fully. Her calm demeanor and thorough explanation gave me confidence that I would be all right. I was also advised to come back for a follow-up appointment in a few weeks to make sure everything was improving. Before leaving the hospital, I stopped by the pharmacy inside the facility to pick up the prescribed medication. The pharmacists were just as professional and helpful as the rest of the hospital staff. They explained how and when to take the medication and reminded me of the importance of following the doctor's instructions carefully. I was grateful for how smoothly everything had gone despite my initial fears. As I left the hospital, I couldn't help but reflect on how important hospitals are in our society. They are places where people go when they are most vulnerable, seeking help and healing. The care I received at the hospital was a reminder of the dedication of healthcare workers who spend their days ensuring the well-being of others. It's easy to take our health for granted until we need help, and experiences like this one made me appreciate the healthcare system even more. In conclusion, my visit to the hospital was both a learning experience and a moment of personal growth. Though I had been anxious about the process, the professionalism and care provided by the hospital staff helped me feel safe and reassured. The experience gave me a newfound appreciation for the medical field and the vital role it plays in our lives. I left the hospital feeling healthier and more informed, grateful for the care I received.